Fellas. It's that time of the night. We're seedbacking. Shout out to the parallel universe in which like there was no Feedback Friday, but for whatever reason I decided Seedback Saturday was the right thing to do every time. Like I thought that was funny enough to do every time. And because Feedback Friday, it's a bit of a cliche. Right? The alliteration is a little too blatant. It scares me when you come in here like I learned my lesson. Like I don't want to roast the shit out of you guys. Like I want to share my honest thoughts, but I don't want to like, cause there's a reason I don't send my own shit for feedback. I'm a sensitive man. Fucked up. Mike is echoey. Why the hell is that a thing? No, that makes no sense. Got one input. Don't make me do this. All right. Anyways, how you guys? Okay.
To know it all, that's always wrong. But I be claiming I'm advanced. It's my second chance.
goes fucking stupid. Like, okay, is the mic echoey? The mic's still echoey before I talk. Okay, I'm gonna start talking anyway. I'm impatient. No, Supernatural, been on fire. No, like, I liked his stuff before, but he just like leveled up in the past few weeks. And I'll probably say he's one of my favorite dudes dropping shit in here as of late. No, it's just excellent. I just love just the sound selection is perfect, you know, like I feel like it's easy in this realm of sound design dubstep stuff to just be chasing after so many new textures and sounds that it just kind of ends up disjointed. You know, but like rather than focusing on how to get these sounds to perfectly mesh and be the most beautiful thing possible, you know, the kind of ladder to that. But I think this is it's just super tasteful in everything it does, and I think that's what makes it stands out. And just the fact like you be shredding those melodies, just excellent. And just good chords, good use of melody. Can't argue with that. No, I really I believe in this because the thing is like I feel like a lot of dudes they're either great at the kind of production or they're very musical. You know, and the musical dudes only touch like instrumental music and the production dudes only touch like electronic music, you know, but when somebody comes in between that and really can bring the best out of both, like I think it's something really special, you know, and that's kind of sound I'm looking for in life. But I've talked enough. No, that was excellent. People are saying very old school vibe. I'd agree. It's like almost it's That's its strength. It's also its weakness, I think. No, it depends on what you're going for. Because I think it's really enjoyable and nice for what it is. You know, it's fun sound design, fun phrases, nice little progressions in the vocal, has vibes on it, right? I think like it's pretty clear like the production value is like a little thin in places, like just kind of like the mix, the fullness, like how clean, kind of smooth the transitions are, you know. But like as a song, as a piece of music, like I'm liking it, you know. But as for like bringing the mix up and the production, whatever the fuck I'm gonna say. So I think these saws sound very old school. They sound like very like sampler or something. Maybe it was intentional. I don't know. But it sound more modern if I think you had more lower oscillators, lower saws, mid-range saws stacked, and more higher. I mean, just stack them thicker, essentially, and don't EQ them so much. Like it might be the kind of sampler sound or something, but it's kind of just sounds kind of low passed or like almost band passed. Um, I think that's kind of a common theme throughout, like contributing to a bit of just like thinness. And that's all I have to say. Like the sub isn't super strong and the mids aren't super strong either. Another thing is like it's very just like one sound, blah blah blah, blah another sound, blah blah blah. You know, like to get it kind of smoother, more modern sound. I'll say that again, I guess. I would focus more on automating one sound or creating duplicates of that. And if you are gonna create these kind of switch between different textures, then I would maybe give it a little more time. So like wow, blah 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 blah. You know, instead of putting them right next to each other. Unless you're going for the old school sound, because that's definitely an old school way to do it, which the world does need. Okay, ours, and I would just add a little more, just kind of mid-range filling layers, and just get color. Just over, and maybe kind of reuse some textures like the bass samples in the intro to kind of make it more cohesive. Like start teasing that, or at least just kind of hint at what's to come, so it's not so like bam bam, you know, a jump. Unless you make it a damn good job. Fire. No, honestly, nice. I fuck with the noise type ambient. I'm glad you've been taking some inspo from that because we were talking a bit about that. wish it wasn't that root note though, right? You can't stay on that root. No. So I would think like um I think you did an astounding amount with how little is going on in the big picture. Which is kind of the beauty of these type of arrangements. I would say though, we could have more in some ways. You know, I'm thinking something that wouldn't really change the arrangement much is you can have this harmonic series creeping up, which is cool. But I'll maybe find a way to maybe use a different waveform kind of creeping up the harmonic series or some kind of effect. I don't know. That'll just give it some higher harmonic. So it can still have that creeping up effect, but it'll just have a little more depth in that sound to explore. And maybe you're just talking about like heavy machinery metal, like it can be a kind of metallic waveform or something rather than the sine wave. Kind of like if you're talking heavy machinery, I'm thinking like, okay, give us some kind of mechanical Foley textures, maybe stretch it out or like use it kind of percussively or, you know, just something with that. As well as when you say heavy machinery, I think like kind of like dense convolver sounds, you know. So kind of see how we can build on this ambient type building type. And like a thing I've been liking about the kind of ambient sounds lately is that I think in bass music, like, well, I love sound design. I love sound design, obviously. But like essentially I start sound designing and I'm like, wait, it sounds like 10 times better if I just do it absurdly slow. Because what happens is like it stops becoming just like a wow. And you hear every kind of harmonic shifting. It's almost like a very complex like chord progression if you're going to think about it like that. But I feel like it's just too fast to make out, you know? So essentially just take your bass and like pulse stretch it and I'll listen to that, okay? That's actually really not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. In fact, let me go do... Okay, get me out of here. That's not the right link. Why does it do that? Yeah. No, I actually want to do that. I'm going to write that down and do that. But it has to be like a good ass bass. Like one with all the crazy, probably like additive harmonics I'm feeling. Okay. Try that. That's your challenge. Bonus points if you put on Valhalla Shimmer. All right.
Hear the terrible sound. What sound is that? What sounds
All right. That was certainly fire for a track supposedly like made in a rut. Or maybe like this is his victory song because it sounds like it. Because that shit rips. No, like I just love the beats when you bring in that kind of trappy snare pattern. I'm like, oh my goodness. And just the sound design is good. It's real wubby, but like that wub got some texture on it. He got some flesh on the bone. Yeah, and I like all the funky kind of sign compressy guys you got in the gaps. And those kind of calls and responses. I love to hear. If anything, I would say like the mix we can push more. Something about maybe it's the master or something, like the drums are sounding kind of compressed. Maybe they're just quiet. Getting squashed by the master, maybe. I don't know. Sidechain heavy, sure. That's the issue. I'd also think we could try to saturate kind of OTT in moderation, a bit of this is like a touch designer effect. Okay. A bit of okay, now I'm distracted. Bit of OTT as a treat. Okay, I was afraid to say it. I find for these type of sounds, like the sinoid fold is really goated because it kind of keeps the texture of this kind of like wetness, wubby sound, but still gets it louder, gets it denser. Stereo width, I don't know, just keep messing with the post processing really, and I think you can really show it off. Brushes on them snares, that could go. And I'd maybe like to hear a little more. I like how it feels, and the way you use the sample doesn't scream out to me like theory stuff or whatever for me to complain about. But I think it can go harder if we respect the kind of riff of the original sample, like those notes, that kind of key, and get some more power out of the tune. But I say that, and then I know I did a very similar thing on one of my songs, which I do regret to this day. I mean, do I? Who knows? Or don't. First of all, Warding is one of those dudes who needs to like just drop everything he sends into the stream ever and shamelessly spam the fuck out of socialmedia.com. Because that's what the world needs. No, really. A number of dudes in here. Because you have such sauce. I don't really hear anywhere else. And I'm just loving the textures. This is stuff I haven't really heard from you. Like, you're coming back from your silly era, and it's really changed you. It's really helped you develop as a human being. You can tell. You know, textures are crazy. Drop stuff crazy. Tension crazy and unique. Like, when's the last time you heard like a string build in dubstep? Like, never, probably. Probably never, I'm guessing. Who gives a fuck? Drop it with one drop. The people need this. The culture, or whatever you want. If anything, I would say maybe try to get a little more clarity out of just what the hell's going on here. Like, I get the chaotic feel, but at times, if it's too noisy, it's hard for the listener to kind of hold their attention or be led through the track, you know? That's all I would say. I liked how these parts felt. It's just here, like, got messy, easy to kind of lose the, I guess, the sense of tension just in the noise. I don't know. There's a lot of things we don't. I'm but one perspective of countless. So ask your friends for feedback on your song. If you're looking for feedback, I shouldn't be the only guy giving it. Probably. I don't know, I'm not a feedback expert. Self-feedback. Vibes. You got this image from anime.com. Have a group time. All right. I would say this is a common theme for tonight. I think the biggest thing we could do to level these up is just the mix, which is annoying because it's really a lot of trial and error. I would say though, like it's just kind of missing highs on the saws and like on the bass, maybe to get like fuller sound. It sounds very like clean sub. I like to kind of stack something thicker with super saws. As well as like I like what we're trying to do with the chords. It's definitely not something usually here and here, and I think it's a lot more harmonically daring than usual. But I think like maybe it's the kind of inversions make it a little sketchy sounding of a progression and the kind of harmonic rhythm. You know, the kind of rate at which chords change. It might not kind of stick around on that root longer, and it might kind of sit on the tense notes a little longer than you want, you know, which can affect the solidity of your chord progression, even if like played just like in 4/4, like straight on every beat, you know, like it might sound good on paper, you know what I mean? The other thing, I think we could like increase the pace a little bit, increase the layers. It's also just kind of long for the repetition. Like I can't really tell you a lot distinct about the drop. I would also push that lead up more. Essentially, we kind of get. I really like the intro work and what's done here. But essentially, like when these kind of drop hits, it just becomes all one texture, and the texture isn't mixed to my liking. So I think we could clean that up and kind of see what other textures we can get. So it's not just long, 2 minutes long of super saw. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'll definitely sidechain cleaner and sidechain more, because for a beat like this, I think that's really welcome. This scoop mids boost highs. Yeah, with little mid heavy in places too. Yeah, keep the sidechain tight to the kick, you know, don't keep the release too long afterwards usually. And have it cut all the way. You know, I much prefer the sound of a sidechain that hits all the way to 0 rather than one that hits halfway. It just not very musically satisfying to me. Pure gold. was awesome. Probably, definitely, maybe, certainly. One of my favorite from you, I think. I think you just simplified it in all the right places. I hope it wasn't too compromising for your inner being. But yeah, like you just had a nice, solid chord progression, and you had this melody which is just really hooky, which as simple as it was really effective, which I think is exactly what we want, you know? You could do it the Bach way, and like you have that melody, start transposing it around to the chords. Also in a place you can add harmonies to it. Also in a place you can kind of add octaves to it. There are 3 nice ways to kind of vary a melody. MIDI only. You can't market it as a theory video. It's MIDI only. How to make your tracks better with only MIDI. That kind of is a novel way to put it, though. Yeah. I would say like with the drop. So get the basses a little brighter, tasteful ot. Don't low pass it so much. Or like the thing is like I get if we're really trying to tame the highs. We're trying to tame the highs. But if a sound is just like sounds high endy, like it wants to be high endy, like it sounds dubsteppy, growly, and it doesn't have the high end, then I'm like, what? No. Versus like I think there's a type of warm sound, like think more like a wub or like a pad, that it doesn't have that kind of high end content. I hear you cutting out so much. But it still sounds right and like a great instrument. Like that warm low pass tone. You know what I mean? So see how you can kind of work on that out of your sound design. Either that, or I'm assuming at this point the kind of low passing sound is intentional in a lot of stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm completely tripping and it's just not high shelf the fuck of dubstep is. Maybe that's all I want. Okay, so ignore the rest. However, yeah, scoop some mids. I like the vocoder texture. And arrangement wise, I would like create a little more contrast when there's like sound designy bass parts hit. I'm distracted. Yeah. When the bass part hits, kind of clear the arrangement from those chords and those layers, you know, just give it more contrast and bring some clarity and focus to the bass. Make it a little more felt of a transition rather than kind of slipped in. And the kind of bass, I'm not a fan of the kind of like square wavy, like boof harmonic sub bass. It's just not pleasant. I like it less, a little more in the fundamental, a little less on this harmonic. And operculum, I don't like taking donation to skip the line. I should probably like put a rule about that or something, because I hate for people to donate and they're like, no, I actually won't. You know, I just don't want it to be incentivizing donations and accepting bribes. You know, just keep it a level playing field. May the fastest win. Save the $10 and get better internet to submit faster. Alright. Alright, this is a riff type beat. We took all the wubs and put riff on all of them. And I did not like the textures of it. You know me, I'm a riff hater. No, it's just something that bothers me about it. I like the wubs, I like the flow, I like the atmosphere, especially with this picture. I think it really fits the vibe you got going. You don't always see. And it's immersive in that sense. Maybe that's where he got his name from. But yeah, it's that, and I feel like the hat and these kind of layers, it's like the bass kind of flowing, and then it's like like somebody just spits on you. Literally, and that's unbelievable. Like, imagine if somebody spit on you, just someone you don't even know. How would you feel? You'd be so shocked. You would think about this for weeks, if not haunted by it from the rest of your life. Right? That's how I feel. You know what I mean? Just that, and the percussion isn't very straight, you know, and the phrases weren't very phrased and kind of clear and repeated. You know, repeated is a big thing, and they were just kind of being cut into, so it just didn't let me kind of settle down into anything, you know. And really, like, I say this a lot, but it's like, in essence, I'm asking you to do less. Like, just take one kind of the catchiest phrase you have and repeat it longer, you know? A lot of dubstep songs are essentially like one riff, one solid riff, you know? And notes, even pitch bends, can be really effective in nailing those. And it's just, yeah, mess with the post-processing. I'm really not a fan of the kind of like wubs just with kind of like slight soft clip sound on them. I don't know. Just not crisping me. A little stereo width would be nice as well. And just kind of clear up the mix, clear up the sound. It's just a little crowded. Just bring back some kind of layers and just be clear what we're communicating. You know, repeat. Okay. That was pretty nice. It was pretty cool. No. But I like the kind of arrangement ideas coming out and the kind of like melodic, just exploring that side of things. But I feel like the kind of production on it, it just makes everything kind of a blur. And it's like it just needs a better sense of timing. Timing, kind of like placing these different moves. Because it's just kind of, you have these loops going, but then it's just, you just like, all right, now the bass line's rolling. All right, now like there's this kind of layer doing something, you know? And it sounds very low pass. Sounds very low pass. Like more saturation, a little more kind of multi-band OTT stuff maybe. Less decreasing the high end, more increasing through a multitude of ways. But like, if you're gonna make all these changes, I think you can make moments out of them, you know? Because if you're just kind of chilling and you change something, like people are like, oh, you know, you have to give them some projection as to what you're doing. You know, you don't need a whole build up, but essentially just you want to use that effect to your advantage anytime you want to change something. And you'll notice a lot of great songs do that. You know, they have some type of indication, even if it's not corny EDM cliche build up. And if you are going to change things like that, I would really stick to, you know, 8, 16, 32 bar phrases. Be very musical with it, you know? And what you can do in the production as you change stuff is just take in and out some layers. Just remove the bass for 4 bars before you switch it. You know, even that, removing the drums for 4 bars will kind of cue your listener in, even in a simple way. And, you know, kind of switch sounds out at these moments too. Maybe kind of create a rise or a sweep, up, down, you know, just because we don't want it to sound like a blur, you know, like if you're painting an image, you know, you want it high resolution. A lot of time, more detail is better, you know, we kind of have these abstract musical ideas and we need everything we can to kind of describe the effect we're trying to produce. So essentially, like, don't leave anything uncommunicated. Unless what you're really trying to get across is like, okay, this is a blur. This is like everything kind of just changes without any order. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I hope that makes sense. That's all I can do at the end of the day. When words fail, I'll be transmitting them through like frequencies or whatever the fuck. Contrast. That's the word for it. But the thing is, like, when I say like contrast and when I say all these words, I don't want you to be like, all right, contrast. I mean, even though that's all you should do. No, but like, I really want you to look into like what contrast is, you know, instead of just taking someone's word for it. Like, okay, I need to add contrast. How do I do that? Like, really look into your music, because I think in a sense, like, if you can hear it, you know, rather than just take my word for it, you got to really hear it for yourself, like, or at least try to hear it. Then it's natural that you'll make a song with more contrast and that's more varied and sounds more musical and professional, you know? So really try to hear it in yourself rather than just being like, oh, let's tweak this knob, let's do the trick to contrast. That makes sense. Appreciate it.
Light speed to Endor. You can be a millionaire.
I'm getting my fill of TV. Ooh, wow, that's how it starts. Then there's running and screaming and power-ups. Boring. I'm invincible. Tail time. Here's Gexy. It's tail time. Taste my tail. Sayonara. One of these doors is a brand new 500 channels and still nothing on. Meet Gex Gecko. Beam me up, Scotty. Hey, cutie. I'm invincible. Tail time. Cut! Stunt gecko! It's tail time! Sayonara! Note to self, don't drink tap water at Jerry Garcia's.
Nah, the Gex is crazy. I like the sound design on it. It's fun. It's more whimsical than what we're used to. I would say it's getting too whimsical. No, just the arrangement. It's still too random. It's still too like sampley clusterfuck. So like in the drop, I would maybe. I mean, I think what really throws me off is the kind of breaks. Like we kind of have the drops, which have some order to them, but the breaks are just like straight sample. There's not much indication if it's tension or not. I would create a little instrumental and maybe have it more repeated or more as a background to some instrumental stuff, rather than the only thing. You know, it just kind of makes it, you know, a little difficult. And similar thing to the drop. I don't think we want to be switching through a vocal sample. Yes, stuck with the 8 and 16s. I noticed that, and it's a lot cleaner because of that. But yeah, could be more direct with the use and usage and placement of the sample in the drops as well. And also, I would say like really just stick to one really nice bass sound. You know, just pick one bass sound that's really solid. And I'd like to hear a little more experimentation with the flows and riffs with just that. I think we can get a lot more sauce out of it. Sauce and sauce. Double dosage, really.
I'm invincible. Tail time.
Another thing I'd maybe do, I want to see if we can process the sample to kind of have a similar kind of brightness texture to the rest of the arrangement. It's just a little loud, and it's like it's very old video gaming. You know, I wonder if we can like OTT it and chorus enough that it'll sound like dubstep vocal feel. I know you. And maybe give us some saucier drum patterns too. Or if you're gonna have the drum pattern so straight, I think that's your chance to really mess with the flow. I mean, that's essentially the thing with rhythm. They keep a lot in place. The drum beat, the sounds, they're not morphing the sound as much, but they're flowing. I think that's the advantage of having something really straight, kind of simple, is that it allows you to provide an anchor for the rest of the whimsicality. But you gotta feel that anchor and then feel how much room that gives you. You know what I mean? I skipped yours. I did not. He is capping, officer. Caught in 4,000 resolution. Shows up different. Time is subjective, right? Is that a woke thing to say? Let me know in the comments below. All right. This was nice. I think a big thing, we want that sub giving meat. It was not giving me the meat. Give me the dick, schlong, or any other derivative. Okay, so I think it could have been the sub itself. Like, I just wasn't hearing much low end. Dedicated sub, don't cut the lows. If anything, boost the time, but don't clip the fuck out of them. But also the notes. It's kind of hovering around the D, C, D, G, A, B, D, E, E. Okay, that was hard for me. But that's pretty low for the sub to go, because if it's on D0, that's already lower than most systems are going to play for mine headphones, for what most people would listen on. And then if you go below that, you are very out of luck. Like, nothing's playing that. So just a bit of meat on there. And the thing is, like, I'm thinking about the sound designing instrument. I kind of like the riffs you did here, Brand. Dun boo doo 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 doo. That's fun. That's fun and nice. I think the sound was holding it back a bit because it's just wham, wham. Imagine if you had like a really full, thick harmonic bass. That could be really sick. Like, kind of pitch banging around to give it a bit more of that push and pull. a bit more sustained, or not sustained, but kind of focusing on automation. You know, it's just so LFO. It's just so preset sample stuck. You know, which can be kind of fun if you're going for that full bouncy vibe. But with how melodic it was sounding, I just wanted something a little more legato. Just the sound itself sounds pretty distorted, pretty chopped. Just try to get the post-processing crisp, fuller, a little more stereo width. This sounds a little nicer. I think we can kind of work in some quote-unquote ear candies. Just some kind of details, fill things up. Yeah, and just a little more kind of layers, a little more going on musically to kind of give these transitions, you know? Like, don't leave it at a god dang noise sweep. We can do better. Society and our responsibility. Weird melodic death trap thing, IDK, I think it's pretty, believe you. I think your tracks are pretty cool. I like this. Had a cool dark sound to it. I would say like, so the bass, it's all like stereo and very fucky blown out vibe, which is cool, but I want a little more mono just so I feel the power of it. It doesn't necessarily sound like power, it just sounds like a lot of like muddiness slamming me. Getting hit with like mud, like that ground type surf move in Pokemon. All right. Another thing I'm still thinking is repetitive. I'm still thinking it's repetitive. Another thing, so it's not in terms of repetition, but I was just thinking kind of make the phrase more interesting, like more kind of trappy-ish, you know, bow, 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 bow. I think that's really where we gotta push it because you love those straight, just distorted, boofed 808s. And those are kind of a very central feature, very defining feature for your sound. And I think just very defining for what's going on, you know, harmony wise, especially considering you're playing with that harmony. I don't know why the fuck I'm echoing. Multiple people have said that, but then it just went away without me doing anything. Well, anyways, I'll just keep talking and pretend that it doesn't happen. However, so essentially just ornament the bass, give it glides to fifths, you know, octaves, kind of chop it up rhythmically and see what we can do. Why the fuck would it echo? Be honest. There's no reason to. Anyone else think I'm echoing? Because it's happened twice now, but only one guy said it. So I'm suspect. Okay. Wait, look, I'll check. I can check, actually. I have the power. Not hearing any echo. Okay. See, Gabe, if no one got me, Gabe got me. Fix y'all own shit. No. But yeah, the bass is defining feature. Ornament that. Rhythmize that. Give some glide to that. Some funk to that. I guess drums, too. And I maybe like to hear more kind of chords giving harmony. Maybe some like arps. Some fucky arps. Yeah, also the beat's just a little weird. I think some kind of like the arps could do that, but just hi-hats in general. Just something a bit more driving on the rhythm to kind of just keep it moving forward. And I think if you explore more with those kind of bass lines, these rhythms, then that opens a lot of doors for you in terms of what you can vary upon as well, rather than just like one loop. You know, then you just go full root note. For lack of a better beatbox, right? Or you can switch it up, you know, you do the kind of halftime breakbeat thing, then you just have like 4 on the floor, high ass BPM type thing. You know, and the same with your melody, just you know, you know, like play it like some dude getting crazy on the sax, like pitch bend it, ornament it, fuck it up. How do you submit music for the next time? I open submissions at 10:30, and within like 10 minutes, there are more than enough to keep me occupied for like 4 hours. So you want to show up 10:30 p.m. EST on Friday. It was just moved Saturday this week because of reasons. Please load. Holy shit, this is actually crazy. Chef Panda, stop denouncing me, or you're banned from Flock Flip forever. No, you can't ban a champ. That's in the rule book. Okay, now we're talking Clown Planet. Rabba-dabba.
Good morning, Clancy. Which universe will you choose today?
Good morning, computer. Look at that. Send me to Clown Planet. That place looks fun.
It's all right.
What, you don't think clowns are fun?
They're terrifying.
Come on.
You come on. Merging with simulator in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, Clancy. Which universe will you choose today?
Good morning, computer. Hey, why do all these planets have X's on them?
Because they are dying, as I am dying.
You're not dying. You're a machine. Look at that. Send me to Clown Planet. That place looks fun.
It's all right.
What, you don't think clowns are fun?
They're terrifying.
Come on.
Fire. Chef Panda, he's done it again. No, I get sketchy about vocal samples from popular television series. That's the one line I refuse to cross. No, I'll song it in the intro, but then when I repeat it, I'm like, all right, I've heard enough of this. I'm not a fan of that trope all the time. It's nice. I just wish it was a little less kind of seamless with it here. Or like, if at least it's seamless, I really want this to just amp up the energy for the second time around. Just really be like, oh shit. That's when you bring in the drum and bass. Have you ever heard of this genre? Tutor.com has told me everything I need to know about it. And also, like, on terms of variation, like, literally all I want in life is just you wobbing it crazy with the flow, and then you change the harmonic. You go, wow, wow. Whoop, whoop. Ow, 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 ow. You know it. You know I fucking. You get it. And that's excellent, and so simple, and so effective, and beautiful. It's really like the harmonics, it's a type of harmony. It really is. And I think it's a really important part of bass music, because bass music is one of the few genres that gets to flex those harmonics. Well, pretty much the only genre. So I think it's worth it to be really conscientious of them and try to use them in a musical way. Like, just that simple variation is enough to kind of play with that. Yeah. I guess for the fills too. I get. Fuck. So one thing though, like I'm not a fan. I've said this before. I'm not a fan of this kind of harmonic sub. Just sounds a little too dirty. I want that just clean, fundamental, pushing through my meat and shit. Docking sense. All right, YouTube.com. Do not delete. Nonetheless, yeah, a little cleaner and a little brighter, a little wider on these kind of sound design. Just increase the fidelity of the vibe. And like I thought the top progression was interesting, but it wasn't really like getting me bobbing. Which I think we can strike a balance of both, you know, just simplicity and syncopation are where it's at. The two S's. The third S, I don't know. Make it up yourself. That's all I got. And great things come in threes. Like what's a good thing that comes in threes? Damn, I can't think of that many good things that come in threes. But it sounded nice to say it. So can you blame him, man? Wow, these Blender renders get real realistic.
Another day, and like tomorrow, far away, past the horizon, just like yesterday, and even tomorrow, far away, past the horizon, maybe even tomorrow, or even the future. The coolest the sun is, past the horizon, into the deep void of the universe. Yet the sun rings past the horizon. Maybe even tomorrow, or even the future. The coolest the sun is, past the horizon of the universe. Yet
I like this. I like the vocal. Like I hear that it's a kind of format shifted vocal, but I think it's done really well. It's something I've been wanting to mess with. Yeah, it just sounds good. Processing on that sounds clean. I would say though, like the kind of lyricism throws me off a little bit. Not necessarily like the words themselves. It's just the way they're kind of fit into the music. You know, it's like you got to stick to the kind of syllable count because like even though like the phrase is the same, like if you like you know, like even though the same kind of rhythm, if the syllables are off, like there's just something off about the kind of way it flows. That and I just felt like kind of the pace of the melody could be a little more distinctly rhythmic, which comes into the syllables, kind of just a little catchier. Like it was pleasant, but it was just kind of a little slow paced, or I don't know, just the kind of syllable thing was throwing me off, I think. The other thing is like, yeah, I like it, and I like the kind of instrumental break you've done. I want a little more like clarity from the saws and just a little more brightness from what's going on. And it like if anything like I don't know. See if we can just experiment away from the saw texture. I'm not saying we got to drop a song that isn't completely supersaws the whole time. I know that's a big request from Dean48. Whoever, I think it's worth, even if we're confident that like this is what we want, to explore other sounds, you know, like something I'm doing all the time. Like as soon as I notice I'm falling into a kind of musical pattern, connection cut out. Wow, I'm right here. All right. I hope it's your connection, not mine. That worries me. No. But like what I do when I notice myself kind of falling to a pattern, you know, I find myself I sit down to produce, I sit down to play piano or make music, and I just kind of play the same thing again and again. Right? And it's like that could be my sound, that could be what I want to do, but that's not, I'm not growing. And that's the simple thing, like you're not growing through that. And I think that's really important, at least for me as a musician, as a learner of stuff. You know, and maybe you will come back to just the kind of supersaw sound, the same textures you've been using in the end. But you gotta go to know. Does that sound good?
Nigga, I'm coming through rubber band, man. I'm coming through like the Sandman. I'm coming through, my clip don't jam, nigga. I just come through with brand, man. You know I just brand, man. You know I just brand, man. You a fucking 10, man. Nigga, I'm coming through, my clip don't jam. 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 My clip don't jam, nigga. I just come through with brand, man. You know I just. Wait, this was cool. I like this. Want my wedding to be 140.
Yeah, I would think a little more impacts, SFX, ear candy, like layers in places. Like one thing that stands out, I think, like the kind of performance shifted, like vocal stuff, like the kind of raps itself and those samples, like just kind of EQ them better. They're really low, mid, heavy, a little muddy, a little dirty, not in a pleasant way. Like we need a little like crusty texture. We don't need like the gunk coming off, like sticking to our finger. I don't know. Depends. And like I just want more kind of musical avenues explored. Like we have the intro, but then like the intro is pretty much just a drop arrangement, you know, besides the kind of vocal. Yeah, I'll really skip some mids on the vocal and get a little quieter. It just really stuck out a little weird from the arrangement, especially in the fills. I would also like, even if you're going like you go even that, I'm trying to say, tune it to the kind of key of your song, and you'll be surprised. Even things you wouldn't think that like are very tonal or want to be tuned in a way. Like even if you hear rappers that clearly aren't like rapping, you'll notice they gravitate around a certain like tone a lot of the time. You'll hear a lot of them do it, and that kind of speaks to that effect. Sidechain a little too deep, a little too long in the release. Yeah, and I like, for the sake of time, I skimmed through it, but really like it's probably a little long and doesn't really tell us anything new musically for the whole. And I was pretty satisfied with the variation. Didn't even notice my own was out of key. Right, that's why I'm here, bro. And I don't know, like, I think the transitions could use a little more character, kind of more vibe building, instrumental, ear candy, layered elements. As well as I think we can explore a little more with some riffiness, some notiness, some texturiness in the drop. Just like push that flow harder, push the riffiness, or push how far you're going to experiment with the sound design. You know, pick one. Or you can do them all and be tipped. No. No, but like, even Tipper, my point is like, he sticks to that riff like it's the Bible. But having that anchor lets you pivot off and do so much more. You know, but the point is, find that anchor, do the more. I've said this earlier this evening, but I like to repeat myself for some reason. Yeah, even fills can kind of give that sense of interest. But I don't think that's what makes a great track. Of course, bless. All right. I like this. I like the flows. I like what's going on. Right to the point. But big red flag. Not even a musical red flag, just production red flag. It's just I be making these sub-bass tutorials. You do not be obeying the law. It's on the channel buntingmusic.com. But you're hitting like ding, wom, 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 and that's B flat B, which, if you have studied the art of bass, you would know that's way too damn low for any sub to play. Like, if you really want that, you better really push those harmonics or even have it like an octave higher. But even then, it's not going to be very subby. It's going to be pretty much MIDI at that point. No, but never mind, you didn't add a sub. If you do add a sub, it's not going to do much for you because the notes are already rough on sub. I say it, the closer to F, the better, the stronger the sub is going to be. Unless you're saying, oh, I'm having this on, sub's going to be on E. In that case, I can respect that, but I don't think division. Speaker can't make the note, exactly. Just can't. Why are we trying to make him? Have mercy on him. He's just a mere speaker. Technology isn't there. No, and also our perception itself falls off at that range. You know, like, it's kind of interesting to think about. Like, there's a lot of animals that can distinguish pitches, or maybe not distinguish pitches, but at least hear way above like 20k hertz. Yet, like, pretty much above 10k, like, our clarity starts to fall off, and just like white noise would be fine, you know? The same thing, like, as we get lower and lower subnotes, it gets harder to distinguish. Kind of interesting that perception plays into that. And if the subnote gets low enough, it stops sounding like a note and just starts sounding like a rhythm. You know? Kind of interesting. That's a kind of biological, you know, we're if you want, you can almost think of that in an interesting way, like to inspire your arrangement. Like, if anything, you want the most detail in this kind of speaking mid-high end range, because that's where we're naturally attuned to have the most clarity. And you could see that with the kind of Fletcher and Munson curve. If you care to think about that. It's not very helpful, but it's cool to think about. But yeah, have the sub higher, please. And give us a little more reverb. Give us a little more reverb, a little more pad, a little more atmosphere, a little more lushness. Just like a feeling I can immerse into. You know, like, create that space and put them in it. Swathe them with the vibe. Swaddle, swathe, I don't know. Don't rely on the straight atmosphere samples to do it. Because in a sense, like, okay, like, a real life environment has these sounds. Okay, we have this kind of waterfall pad. We have the bird melodics. We have the leaves crunching percussion. Right, if you want to think about it like that. The thing is, like, I think you can design a completely synthetic space, but it has to have that same level of richness. You know, of course, it's probably not going to compare in the end if you're basing it solely off that. But I think we can create completely kind of synthetic spaces, but it takes a lot of time and attention to detail. And I think that's what we want. That's one of sound design's strength. That's what we can do. And we did it again. What am I? was nice. Just great pacing on it. Just solid arrangement. Be a little on the quick side, but that is a welcome change. Kind of range. So another thing I'm thinking is like, I like that melody, vibes that goes. I think we can hear it varied a little more places. You know, I think we can kind of have it like intro, but then it can kind of switch up for a kind of like build bridge effect. You know, and then it does change in the chorus, but yeah, I just want to hear a little more variation. Go do 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 do. You know, kind of just expand upon a melody. And even then, if you just extend the melody and then you repeat it just as much, just with that slightly longer phrase, you get a lot more mileage out of it, I would think. Another thing, like the kind of energy, I would have liked a little more contrast out of it, because you kept it pretty high with just, you know, the melody going, and you had sub bass and pretty much full atmosphere, full density at all times. So when the drop came, I'm like, oh, we still have drums, we still have melody, we still have bass. You know, like I could definitely tell it's pretty hype, but it's not like knocking my socks off like it might if we kind of held back parts of the arrangement, create more epicness feel. I feel like maybe we could push the sub up a bit. Maybe I'm just not loud enough on shit. But, in fact, fallible. News to a lot of. Okay. And I would maybe like, even though you are switching up the melody a bit, it's still kind of playing off the same note. You know, like give it some different tones, give it some different chords, you know, to really color different parts differently. Those are the, as well as kind of put in a different registers, much higher, much lower. I mean, there's a bit of that, or you can even harmonize it. That's fun. Also, I like this logo. This goes hard. It's like an S, but it's also like a little like cloudy moon or sun. It's such cool.
Was there truly no other way?
Wait, is this the guy who's absolutely cracked as fuck for never leaving? It might be. I don't know. I don't remember.
Know that I tried to warn you. I tried to. I see
out one of the cleaner Johns. Rolling on this fine Saturday evening.
I tried.
Good thing he shouted out Amy K ASMR, informing us of his ASMR listening habits. I like it. So it kind of sticks to a sound, just a few sounds, and it just has a nice atmosphere on it. And it just really creates good contrast, good melodic, riffy motion between these sounds with just a solid beat behind it. And you can't really go wrong with that when the post-processing also clean. Snare may be a little loud. I'm weird about trap snares as well. But it's
No other way.
one thing I would say, like this kind of like this kind of brass-ish bass. I don't know, it's a little straight, a little flat. I feel like I've heard it a lot, and it's not coming out as crisp as the others. I also really like you're really playing with the sub movement. You're not just slaying on a straight sub. You're boom, boom, boom. Having it hit interesting patterns, pitch bending, playing with the dynamics of it, which is all that I want to hear. I'd maybe want a little more mindfulness in the width. I feel like it kind of is like pushed super wide, all these detuned sounds. I mean, that's kind of what they do. You detuned and all. I'd also like to hear maybe more like crunchy, distorted, notchy tone. See how we can create more yuck in it. And a lot of the sounds, they're very just this kind of greasy, distorted-y tone. Let's see if we can get some textures that really strike you as different, you know, mixed in. Crispy Brownstein, I appreciate you, even though your name is weird. This is nice. It's just like it's edging me. It's edging me though. Not in a way I consented to, unfortunately. Like I feel like there's so much tension, but like it never lays down like a really just straight, solid like drum beat. You know, like it has all these offbeat snares, but it doesn't necessarily go like drum and bass. Sometimes it hits like halftime, which is too slow, but then it's like the offbeat snares are too fast with the arrangement not really keeping up with it, and the kicks aren't like punching through. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like building up to something, but just give me the beat. And just the fact that you have sections like these which go on for a while without much indication of where it's going. You know, it's kind of like, all right, here's our sound. It's kind of tense groove, but there's no like riser or kind of production like show me where it's going, or like there's not kind of melody like leading me up to the top, or there's no harmony kind of, you know, hitting a progression, you know, and then hitting some tense chords to show me like, okay, this is kind of the bridgey section. You know, and the rhythm doesn't really change. It just kind of stays on this one tense mode, rather than, even if we don't have to do full EDM drum cliche, but if we kind of twist it, at least change it at these kind of 8, 16, 32 bar intervals, then it'll feel like we have a lot more forward motion, you know. And just, it's gonna sound pretty mono and tense when you just have this kind of bass droning the whole time. You know, change the notes, give it a chord progression. That can be a simple change. You could just create literally just like 1/4, and that'll already give it a lot more life, I think. You just copy a 1/4 across the whole thing instead of just 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. As well as, you know, kind of modulate the textures. If you're gonna stay so hard on the 1, I think like, you know, take the modal perspective and like really mess with scales. You know, kind of treat it like a sitar drone and really go in on all your improvisation top, you know, jam it out. Or it doesn't have to be like musical improvisation. It could be really exploring a lot of different textures. Or you can take that drone and just morph it and manipulate it in so many different ways. Give it reverb in and out, give it more delay, give it filter sweeping through. You know, give me some. Give me some. You know, I can appreciate like it's reached a point where it's simple and effective and essentially gets the job done. But like I said earlier, you gotta go there to know, you know. You have to try, experiment to push the edge of where you are. Go outside the box to find something, even though plenty of it you're not going to keep. That was cool and clean. It was just a good song. Yeah, someone said they like on the intro started. I think it's really strong. Like, really, you just have a great melodic idea, kind of showing some harmony as well. You know, kind of progression, melody around a progression. Really, you can't go wrong. That is your start. Basis of a kind of hook. One thing I would say, like the sound you chose, it's just so EDM. I mean, it's generally very EDM. The beginning sound struck me right away. A big thing I think I want from the whole track is like more bounce, more like forward rhythmic movement. It's just boom, 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 boom. You know, there's not much driving about that. I think we need kind of more syncopated kicks in the middle, and like the hats are kind of like, you know, like you're rolling them, kind of lifting them out in all these places. I would like a little more consistent, syncopated, just straighter hats. Syncopated and straighter at the same time, magically. You know, I just want more balance, groove, forward movement out of it. That's what I'm thinking right. And even though you have these kind of kick and like rhythm complexities, they're all like at the end of the phrase, which is just kind of serves as like fill rather than something pushing you through along the way. Huge point. You can also get some more rhythmic groove out of the bass, you know, boom, 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 you know, the fifth, the glide. I like yeah, and like there's just this kind of like OTT-iness, just something about the post-processing on the saws just sounds very feedback streamish. Oh, that's hater. The rest of them is recognized now. I still feel like I want a part to kind of break away from this kind of loop beat style, you know, take away the drums, give us a little more tension, take away these kind of elements in our arrangement, see what kind of challenges we can create for the listener. Challenge for the listener. I don't know if that's what you want, but you know what I mean. That was quite cool. I liked all the varieties of wubs, varieties of sound design you got. I think what it needs a clearer riff. It needs clearer riffage. It needs clear phrasage, clear repetition, which I've heard out of you before. But I don't know. Also, it's just very much wup, 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 you know? And if you're going to switch the sounds, I think it becomes especially important to be more consistent. Variety of wubs. Yeah, that's my ebook on dubstep production. Right. Yeah, and as well as like it's just very bad that, you know, these kind of 2-note switching. When like really throw some minor thirds in there, throw some fifths in there, throw some octaves. And get it a little more flowy. Like it's like flowing, but I think for the straightness of the flows a lot of the time, I want more drum groove. Or the straightness of the drum groove, I want more flowiness. Like it's definitely flowing and going places, but it's still very like LFO-y, you know? Versus like, you know, it's just kind of one bar LFO flutter, next bar LFO flutters differently, you know, which kind of shows a flow, but is it flowing? You know, versus if line versus this kind of I don't know, that wasn't bad either, but you know what I mean? Just draw in some flows beyond those bars. Overhaul, if you want me to see your track, you have to share the private link. Or make it public. Timer to drum sounds, that could be nice. More atmosphere, more character, and those intros, kind of ear candies. You gotta click this share, and I'll look at it. One vision. I will be skimming this track. I've been too lenient with the times. I think I might actually start enforcing time limit, cause time for one, and also people, and also I think usually there's only one specific part you want me to. The fuck are you talking about? Nah, if Windows Update restarts me in the middle of the stream, I'm gonna sue Windows. I'm gonna shoot him with a gun. And YouTube.com.
Hey, yo!
Falling, it gets lonely at the finish.
Okay, I like this, but it kind of brings to light like something I think I beef with a lot of the tracks that come in here, and just a lot of dubstep. It's just like a lot of the times, like I liked these longer phrases, but for a lot of it, it was just these 2 bar repetitions. You know, it's just like slight kind of ear candy twists, but nothing substantial to kind of develop it. Which it did go a lot of different places within that, you know, kind of went looped that for a bit and then took it to a new destination. But I really think I just want longer phrases, just in general, longer melodic phrases, longer progressions. You know, it's not so densely packed and looped. And I think if we can do 2 bars of a phrase, we can extend it. If we can do 4 bars, we can extend that, you know. No, it doesn't need to be extended forever, but you see what I mean. And the thing is, like, essentially the same kind of logic you apply to a bigger arrangement, you apply to smaller phrases, you know. You're going to want some repetition, you're going to want some variation, you know, striking the balance between those, it kind of shows up in different patterns in your music, you know. So you stretch the arrangement out, let's stretch these kind of phrases out in a similar way. The other thing is that, like, even though the arrangement was twisted in different places, it's like the drum beat being so consistent and there's not a whole lot of kind of production, kind of really like spicing up a transition or really providing some really tangible new textures for each kind of switch or for some of them. This kind of effect. And it does get riffy in places. It's still quite root notey in parts. You know, I like to hear some chords. But the times it does get riffy, it's just kind of, well, it's just riffing, you know. It's the harmony isn't really being supported. I think we can use some kind of pad sounds to bring that out more and just do it. Okay, he commands me to stop it because it exported wrong. I'll believe that. I'm not sure if I'll play the full second half, but I still have some things to say. Like, the thing is, like, now that I have my keyboard here, it sounds like you're hitting B0, B-1 root note, which is too low for a sub to really come through in the first place, so you need to transpose things. You want it to come out or put it up an octave, but that won't be very subby. Too compressed, too squashed. You could just see it from the waveform. It's a brick, and you could hear a lot of the kind of fidelity of the bass, the crispness of them is kind of sacrificed at that. Drum's pretty good. But yeah, post-processing on that. And it's like weird. It's like put in reverb, like really wet for some reason, but it's still super mono, which is like the worst of both worlds. You know, like give me a bit of wetness but give it stereo, or give me some dryness but keep it mono. You know? I still want this acapella maybe like a little more processed or just louder in general. This chorus, performance shifter, just give it something to sauce. Yeah, definitely hitting B negative note, which is way too low for sub. Gotta change that. Yeah, I would like to hear some sidechain with those kind of intro and break kicks. Bam, bam. I would groove it. Just in general, that'd be nice. And I'll also say like clearer phrases, you know, like it's similar thing. Like it's flowing, but it's still stuck to one bar. It's like wow, brown, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't really end up repeating that, and the kind of lack of further detail in that, you know, the sounds. You're not really switching textures very much. You're not really pitch bending. You know, if we went. I think that could come off a lot stronger because pitch is important. It's very obvious. You know, if we are going to stick on that one note, I would switch sounds more often. You know, I like to do that rhythm thing. You know, automate that. Play with those in the kind of flow, right? Or just really flow it, stinky style. I like this. I think what I want to hear, it's just like attention. I like all the theory stuff you're messing with, and just music. And you have some interesting sounds going on too. But I think these sounds, they need to have a bit more envelopes to them, a bit more smooth attack or pluckiness. They're just kind of flat, you know. If you're gonna have these kind of now, I would add some things. Okay. Windows trying to shut me down again. But like that singing lead, like give it some kind of format modulation. That's nice for those kind of effects. You know, give it a kind of filter. Pitch bends, vibrato, all that stuff. You know, if you're gonna get this musical with it, I think you really want to get expressive with the sounds. That's what I've been messing with lately. Thank you, guy. And same with the piano. Like, I like what you're doing with it, but it's, I mean, you're MIDI keyboarding. Also, like the chords are very just block chords on the downbeats, which sound MIDI. Also, or if you're gonna stick to it, maybe try to make it sound so kind of dry, flat, block chord velocity piano. You know what I mean? Spoons here, small. But like, it's not just mess with it, but you know, listen for it. You know, because if you listen for it, then it'll fall into place. Maybe groove your hats, groove your top percussion. Hats. And maybe like really reverb out some of those vocal samples, really lush out some of the kind of pad stuff. They tend to sound kind of like OTTE, despite their melodic feature, which isn't always an effect. clean sound. I really like the kind of bass groove, like the kind of syncopation with the beat. Bam, bam, bam. Like a triplet. Bam, bam, bam. And you see he's stretching the phrase a little longer. It's not crazy vary, but it's boo do 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 boo do 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 do, right. I think one thing is just like the pace is very like slow and kind of stompy. I think we can have a little more kind of bringing the pace up, bringing the speed up. Like that ARP kind of does it, but that's I would like to hear a little bit more of that coming out of maybe percussion and kind of lead elements. You know, and I guess the bass, so we get boo do 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 do. You know, boom, 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 boom. You know, and I like the riffs and kind of progressions you're hitting on the bass, but we can go even deeper. You know, literally just like take the groove you're doing, like put it up a fourth for the second half. And we don't have to reverb it because I feel like you're not the type of guy for reverb, but I still think we can benefit from a little more ear candy-ish, maybe delayed layers, more kind of mid-range patty layers. You know, even if we're very synthy and digital, I still think we can get this kind of warmth without having to resort to a bunch of samples and RC20. Maybe even try RC20 or something like that. Or reverb, you know. At least do it to have that in your toolbox, you know, because it's clear you are quite effective with these very synthy, kind of colder sounds. Let's attempt the warmth, not because we need to keep it and use it forever, but just to know we have that at our disposal. And look, there's a cat in the background. There's Spud in the background. I also have the rat. So this hyper pop ass chord progression. I like it.
Let's start this party with a bang!
Now, here comes the music.
That was pretty nice. I would say I like the vibe, the kind of aesthetic you're cultivating. The rise of Twinkie Popo, truly. I think like just traditional, like almost like poppy inspiration. So like when I hear this bass, I'm thinking it could be deeper, it could be subbier. I also think it could have more rhythm. So boom, 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 boom. You know, bring a little more energy to the table. as well as we can have the chords be a little more confident, a little fuller. They're just so all high end y'all. I guess it's almost like cell phone ringtone vibe or something. And they're panning, they're kind of fickle. I think the rhythm along with the bass could be a little groovier, a little fuller, nicer voicings. Had to take that verse chorus inspiration. I like this, but it kind of I think it was doing almost sounded like some kind of inversions on the chords, which I just think is a little jarring. Like, you just want those root notes, especially if we're gonna lay it down heavy style. And I think we can simplify the melody. I think just a little more leading line, a little less just bring ding 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 ding. It's just a jumpy, pretty jumpy. Simplify, rhythmify. Anyone. Really, look at some of the most successful music nowadays. Beats, simple melodies, great rhythms. Not on accident. Generally. I liked it. Very loopy. Get it out of the loop. Take away the drums. Take away the bass. Bring in and out different elements. Use production, kind of ear candies to give those sections different transitions, different feelings, even if it's just breaking up one loop spread out. And I think the drums and the bass are the most important to look at when you're trying to create that contrasting feel. As well as it just repeated. It was repeating things quite a long time without much variation. You know. we can go more in on layers. And also, I'm just hearing like just generally like, I mean, it's pretty obvious because it's what I usually focus on and what generally dubstep producers focus on is not melodic sound design, but all the synth sounds we're bringing to the table, they're very synthy, they're very serumy, they're very vital. I really want to challenge us to try to create something like, yeah, kind of. I was saying the same thing with Arcadian sound. That's like warmer. That wouldn't strike you as like dubstep synth type beat. You know what I mean? Because that's a lot of time what resonates with a wider audience as well. You know, like think of like, okay, like if I was gonna play this like piano, if I was gonna put this in a lo-fi track, you know, what kind of synth would I make maybe? You know, or if I was gonna put this in a trap beat, you know, what kind of synth I would make? Because synths are everywhere. It's just like the character you extract from them. We want to just expand the roles we can play. You know? I liked it. Chord's pretty nice. I would say like a sound I really didn't like. It was just kind of like the wop 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 chord, just very OTTE, very band-passy. I want something a little more lush to lay down those chords and a little more solid rhythmically. You know, just kind of like hitting and running. I really love when that piano came in. I like that. Although I probably had some mid and low end that was interfering with the rest of what's going on. But you bring in that piano, I cannot resist. It was well done. If you played that, for sure, do more of that. That's the dynamic. Even if it's sampled, do more of that. Oh, mines. We got the Google Drive link. Thank goodness. I needed a break from SoundCloud compression. Yeah, and submissions have been closed, so you gotta pull up next Friday, 10:30, and drop it ASAP. No more. Makes me think of a clear question, a very vital question to all producers, music makers, and members of mankind. When you do something, say, would I show this to the host? No, you know what I mean. No, that can sum up a lot of my feedback, because I think in a way that's a pretty clear indicator of many things. No, I do like this though. I love how in the beginning it gave a false impression of the kind of rhythm it was hitting, but then the beat dropped and kind of divided in a different way. I love when tracks do that. It's a really interesting effect. Maybe pull it off multiple times, you know? I would also think like a little more, maybe just kind of like shape these transients, you know, give it boom, boom, down, boom. Kind of shape that rhythm. See if we can kind of like maybe layer higher octaves, lower octaves on it, stereo width, just if we can kind of increase the fidelity of this sound so it's not so like crunched. You know, we could get that texture, but just a little nicer. Probably louder sub, and I would like to hear a little envelope. Boom, boom. You know, 808s, they're effective. They can give it a little groove, maybe give it a bit of wub in some places. I like how it kind of comes into this transition here, but again, not really enough variation. It just kind of holds the beat non-stop. You know, just taking out that beat for a little bit can really do a lot for the tension. And, you know, like you want to give it a mix out, you know, you want DJs to play your track. A lot of time they're going to gravitate towards the tracks that have a break, you know, have just an easy kind of mix-outable format. That usually means tapering it down in the middle, midsection. You have all these kind of sound effects, sound design, ear candy, whatever bits, but they, well, why am I linking this Google Drive? That doesn't do anything for us. But they get in the way of, like, the main riff, you know, and they aren't necessarily like super groovy, syncopated. Like, I want the funk emerging from them. Like, I want that sauce coming out of it. Come on, bro. And maybe that main sound design, give it a little more modulation. You know? Also, wow, kind of bring it down to the root. It kind of sounds very major right now, which sounds a little happy for a bass. And yeah, modulated kind of, you know, distort it more, automate something, not filter it. This is not very good. Okay, that. The gassing up he did, saying it's terrible and shit or whatever. No, that's pretty nice. One thing that threw me off though is like there's something weird going on with the drums. So like when they come in here, it just struck me as like there were some points where it just like was cut. The kick was in the middle of the beat rather than like at the beginning, kind of where I felt the phrase was starting. And it was just a little funky. And also you kind of had this thing like in the drop where like it kind of just like loops like a bar early. Like instead of like 16, it's like 15 and the drums sound a little off for the next few measures. You know what I mean? Just listen to the kind of drum placement. That kind of threw me off in some areas. I'm also thinking, I like all the sounds you did, but I think we can pretty easily get some more textures from it. You know, it's very just kind of saw wavy, square wavy. give it a notch, give it some pitch bends. They're all very just like kind of flat, give it more low pass filtering, give it a pluck shape, give it a wub shape. Make some sounds that aren't basses, and you can use those in the drop for kind of fills and calls, and that'll give a lot of contrast to your work. Scoop mids, boost highs. That's a little loud. And give us some non-bass elements. Give us something to give us more depth and character. Like if I laid out like no, that's a bad analogy. That's a terrible analogy. Giving you a lot of choices. Essentially, I'm like, okay, carve this statue. And like you're grabbing, like I have so many different tools and you're just like grabbing one chisel. And it's like it's the tiniest chisel and it's like, bro, you have this other chisel you can pick and use to like carve the statue better. And you're like, no, I'm good with this one. Like that's what's trying to like create more depth in your arrangement with just bass sounds is. There's so many tools at your disposal. If you're just gonna try to make one do everything, you're just working against yourself, Funk up the sound. Just automate within Vital. And just listen carefully. Like a lot of time, like we have different textures, but just the fact that we distort and OTT them so much afterwards, they all end up sounding the same,
I've been thinking about something.
All right. It's a mess, but a beautiful mess. It goes pretty hard. I love the bass lines kind of exploration there. And that shit's... I would for sure say... Yeah, simplify. It also sounds super, like, hyper compressed on the master, which is weird because it's not coming through that loud. So we get in the worst of both of the worlds. And, we could probably expand it, or at least even within this, we can create more distinct parts. It's pretty much just like non-stop layers, just kind of noodling everywhere. Just take one part of it and loop it. And then take another part of it and just kind of remove some layers from it. And see how you can go in more in layers as well. Just kind of supporting detail. Simplify, less noodle, less over post-processing. Really, I'm asking, a lot of times what I'm asking is to do less, right? The thing is, like, it's not just do less. I mean, if you were to take one piece out and just duplicate that more, I'd generally be happy. At the same time, like, you got to be tasteful in that, if you're just like, all right, do less, check the box. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. You got to say, okay, you got to carefully cut away. It's like you're cutting out a paper snowflake, right? I'm like, all right, so what you need is less of it. And you're like, all right, blah, blah, blah. And you open it up and there's no paper snowflake because you were just worried about less rather than like, how can I take away to make this more beautiful? Sounds good as fuck. Good job. Alright, that's super dank. Easily one of the best of the night, and a guy I've never seen before. Awesome. Good job. I would say, yeah, like the mix and the texture is really good. Like it just has that pad full atmosphere, which I just love. And the texture, the sounds and the drops, like the mix down is immaculate. It's not over OTT, it's not over compressed. It's just all sitting where it needs to be. Nice width on it. And yeah, I just love the kind of different textures you got in the bass. They're just super clean, super interesting and saucy. The one thing I would say, like these kind of wubs, I was really liking all the funky textures put in there, but the wubs are kind of flat, and that ends up being kind of one of the main features. I don't know. I'm just really, maybe I'm sick of wubs. I'm especially sick of like kind of reduxy wubs. If anything, I would like to feel the mid-range of them more, kind of have the sub bass support them, or just kind of get some more interest out of the sub bass in general. No, really, like these fills and calls are so saucy. Like the kind of wub content isn't cutting it for me. Not one bit. It's really just the fact that like Redux is kind of interesting, but like I find it's really hard to make a sound as beautiful with Redux as if it had like consonant harmonics, like kind of built up. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Good beat. I would say, like, with your kind of samples, I wish there were a little more fidelity, a little more sauce out of them. They didn't sound as mangled, or, like, they sounded, like, real deep, but intentional, not, like, painful, like, format shifted. The other thing is, like, the key on them. You go, which I think it's you know, like, you're going, like, a half step below the root. Where if you kind of stuck on that you know, I think the kind of cadence on those vocals will hit a little better, play a little more into the root, play on the flow. It's really nice though. It's really solid. Like one thing is like it feels chill, but like it feels like heavy-ish at the same time. I don't know. Like I feel like we can push the energy one way or the other. Either way, it's very enjoyable. Very pleasurable for a guy like me, but you see what I mean? Jesus Christ. We going full progressive metal? Apparently. that's excellent. Probably definitely my favorite from you. That voicing. Wait, no fucking way. Fuck you. Okay, let's hope my mic isn't crackly because it just fucking... It's bugging on me. No, but I love that. I would say bring the bass levels up a little more. You know, and really get that movement on point. I've been realizing more and more, like, especially when you're dealing with harmony, like the bass movement is really everything. Like everything. You can get away with all types of fuck shit harmony if the bass movement is excellent. Yeah, it's great. I love the progression of it. I would maybe think like I hear where it's going. I want it even more broken out of loops, like really like jazz fusion, prog metal feeling. You know, like I hear that coming out of there, and I love to hear that. But push it even further. You know, like we kind of have the loops, but I really want to hear like the melodies and harmonies really bridging the gaps between shifting textures, shifting vibes, you know, just making the journey. Yeah. And I just love that harmony, love all that stuff. I don't think the mix was bad. I think it could be better. I just want, you know, crispness out of the top. Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy holiday. Okay. Out of the tops and just like kind of, and the lows. I mean, really scoop mids, boost highs, boost lows. See, it's like the broke is scoop mids, boost highs. Woke, scoop mid, boost highs, and boost lows. I mean, except scooping mids and then boosting the gain kind of does that at the same. Okay, whatever the fuck. Or you could just like scoop mids harder and that kind of does the same thing. Who the fuck cares? Okay. But yeah, crispness out of the tops. And that stereo placement. You know, and all these layers here, it's like, you know, I'm not really sure what to focus on. I can definitely focus on the piano, I would think, but the way it sits in the mix makes me think otherwise, you know? And something I've noticed, like, I feel like just familiar instruments really kind of stick out of the arrangement, you know? Like, if you have all these synth sounds, then you have a piano, like, people are going to gravitate to the piano. You know, it has that effect. So use that wisely and often lead with that. I think the right here is a part I was just kind of like, yeah, let's give it even clearer movement. But that's picky. Bang. Bing, bing, dabble doom.
Oh my god, you, David!
Thank you, bro. Good. That was really cool. I wasn't sure how to feel about it, but I'm confident that it had much sauce to unravel. I like to kind of like transpose funky chords, and you were doing some cool stuff with it. And the acapella just flowed on it real well, and it's not something I've really heard before. Kind of, even like a kind of style. I don't know. I just haven't heard that before. That was really good. And it's like the one thing that feels a little weird is just like it's just kind of such boofed bass, like both sound design wise. It's become a little cliche for me. Not even that. That's not the main thing. It's just so boof, so loud compared to everything else, and just not really as dynamic and groovy, and it's just not like as sensitive to the vibes as the rest is what I'm feeling. Especially considering it kind of just lays down and stays there, you know, like a big ass, fat ass dog. If you are to entertain such figures of speech. Yeah, and it doesn't really change. But I was surprised how engaged I managed to be, even though it was pretty unchanging and that kind of main beat and bass basis. But if I was engaged, like keeping that the same, imagine if we spice that up more. You know, gave some more pluck, some more wub, some more clearer phrases, sustains, a little more flowy, notey riffs out of the bass, a little more placed in the mix. No, it's definitely flowing, but we can get a little notier with it. Could be fun. As a treat for me. Okay, I've been pretty good. Can say that much. Our friend. Flock flip tomorrow. Our friend, no. Also known as God is a Mushroom, also known as... Did he change one of his names? Oh, he's known as Motive in the chat for some reason. That wasn't confusing. Okay. But, no. If Windows restarts me, fuck you. Okay. But, yeah, click the share link. Of course. No, I like that track. You got some interesting sauce on your hands. You got some flavors. You got some richness in that. Flip flop. On my drop top. My big...
Do some damage anyway.
No affiliation. We are not what I've been waiting for, bro. He's done this one. He's done it on this one.
Do some damage anyway.
The Alpha Wolf. I haven't seen you in a minute. Here to drop colon threes for the people to seize. Bars. All right. No, Hokey Boy. This is what I've been waiting for from you. This is excellent. Like you've been just on this classic like party like bass vibe. I feel, and you just nailed it here. I just the riffs are great. It has really the perfect amount of repetition and variation. Like a little more variation than most tracks you're gonna hear released, but you really pulled it off, and that's what I prefer, honestly. And I like those drum grooves. That's a nice kick. Snare, a little loud, a little dry for me. Like it. Switch it, tune it. And it brings up an interesting point. Like, I want you to think about this. Like, so something he does here, he's kind of like riffing it, you know, root note riffing it. But the simple fact that some phrases he comes in and starts it like on the 2 instead of the 1, instead of the root, that gives a whole new character. And that's something I found, like, even if you have like just like a 1-4 chord progression, it feels way, way different as a 4-1, you know? So just try starting your phrase away from the root note. And even though you're still going to get back to it, I think it really provides a little more contrast than you might expect.
Anyway.
And that's just quirky. That's just creative. Yeah, like I'd play this one out pretty proudly if I were you. And just sounds clean. Sounds clean. And I like the content in the intro, breaks, outro. Like it's just solid. Like it's presentable. It's you know up to like about like a beat level. I would think. I think we can still push it more and really play with the transitions. Really do some world building here. But this is all things I've been wanting to see. Maybe I'm just in a good mood, but yeah, I think he's leveling up. No, it's interesting because you notice that in people. Like they just come back one week and it's like you can hear something kind of clicked musically and they're on something else now. I love to hear that. No, that was heat. Easily, probably some of the best mid-tempo type beats we've heard here. I can definitely milk the fuck out of mid-tempo as well. Damn, I've been lacking on the content. What am I doing? No, I love it. And that like brass break in the middle, that was crazy. We don't hear musicalities like that no more. One thing is I'm not a big fan of just a super detuned, mega wide sound. Just ends up sounding a little thin in parts. At least give us a bit more mono signal, you know, kind of put it parallel. Yeah, it's I guess you can call it phasing. Yeah, the phrase isn't very predictable, but I think you just have damn good phrasing and you keep it kind of syncopated rhythmically. It keeps it really driving forward. And you keep pulling that bit back to this bam, bam, down cadence, which I think is quite saucy. You know, it's still a half step, but just a bam, bam, down. Oh, that rhythm, my God. Yeah, get some gnarly distorted tones out of this. Get some trash to shelf the fuck out of the low end into it. Level it back accordingly. You will not regret it. I would maybe wish for a bit of low passing, kind of plucking on these main basses, or just something to kind of give you an envelope so you can go boom, you know, like you can hear almost like a ghost note effect. Some notes are going to be a little longer than others. Can help phrase it further and groove it up. And I'd maybe like to hear some kind of callbacks to this atmosphere in the drop. You know, what they do in a lot of like bro steppy stuff is they have a melody like bing ding 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 in the intro, and that's going and building up. But then they just kind of throw that in for fills in the drop. Just kind of gives a callback like, oh, here's the theme, here's the vibe we're kind of building off of, playing around with. I think it can be quite effective. A bit of horns in the beat. Don't mind if I do. Haven't heard this in a minute. It's pretty meaty. I like the sounds. Good dubby sounds. I think the subs. Okay, I don't have notes anymore. Why do they take away my notes from me? You know, make sure it's around that F note. Don't get it too low. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe you just push a little more sub out of it. A little more sub. And also, like, it's just a little thin in places. Like, we kind of have this build tease, but it doesn't. It sounds flat. It doesn't sound like it's creeping up. You know, I would give it like that kind of reverb throw effect, or kind of low pass it open. Yeah, maybe a little tighter transient on the snare. I wouldn't mind. Like, I've just been loving the fuck out of just like cutting the tail off of anything I don't like, and I like it more. I don't know. It's feedback streaming. It's dubsteppy. It's just bang ding ding. It's just like very just bar to bar switching. You know, give us a little more subdivisions. Give us a little more notes in the half steps. You know, and kind of changes LFO rates on more divisions than just the bars, you know? I'm picking the lesser of two evils. I'm picking the G clip. Both are sinister in nature. Maybe give us more atmosphere. I'm not sure. Like it's just it's very standard. It's very like, so pick the one thing we're gonna go in on and be like, this is what I'm offering that the other deep dubbers are not. And maybe it's just like bringing the energy, you know? Because like I think you can lay it down pretty straight, but you gotta like hype it the fuck up, you know? No, yeah, I support G-clip usage. Damn, this pick goes hard. Can I save this? Asking for a friend. Release me from this. No, needs variation for real. It's that, and you know, I'm fine with a bit of repetition, but I think there just needs to be more content to extract. You know, because essentially, like, all we really have musically, we have the straight beat, which is the same and never changing. And the main flow is just bep, 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 bep. And never deviates from that. And there are layers, but they're just kind of like samples. They're not really tuned to the key. They're not really playing very rhythmically synced. You know, you're not using them to kind of chop up the phrase. They're just kind of layered. You know, which is a lot of hater shit for me to say. But that's how I feel. Or it's actually my feeling. I like the sound design. I think we bring the sub up a little more. Sound design is just very loud in the mix. I think the rest is pretty good. Maybe a little more sidechain. And yeah, I just want to see some phrases come out. You know, I got sunshine in a bag. That's such fucking like monster cat shit. All right, maybe don't go that hard in the notes, or else we regressed. Cool dubstep has less notes. Remember this. This is kind of true, I think, in a way, but don't listen to them. No. Pitch bend it. Like, vary the flow more. It sounds like you're afraid to kind of deviate from that. All right. This is the last one. You know, and honestly, well, you do have kind of like an intro, but I'll maybe reference arrangement more, especially in terms of the smaller phrase and variations, rather than all the big stuff. Trap Town Records. Oh my god, he in Trap Town. DM me.
I never had to disembark my hopes for you. Yeah, the feelings inside of my head make me believe.
I don't like accepting bribes. DM me your track. This shit hard.
Shut the f*** up.
Sup.
I've never wandered in the dark like this. I never had to disembark my hopes for you. Yeah, the feelings inside of my head make me believe that
That was fire. Excellent way to end the night. I just love that, like, major third harmonic, shifting around, kind of chording it up. It's a really sick sound we got to hear more of. It really sucks that it's hard to do that. Like, it's really a great sound. I think just something really effective that we can do bass music, which I kind of repeated myself. But it's a shame that like it's very signature to a certain artist, which would suck getting compared to personally. No, there's definitely ways to get around it, and I don't think this track was reminiscent of that really. And you know I like it because I did it a lot in Flux. That's kind of the main basis for the Flux tune. One thing I would do though, so the kind of main bass, the main bass, it's a detuned Sawy, which I'm not a fan of. Phasey, you know, a bit more mono, mid-range girth is what I crave. Like you hear a lot of this high harmonic, but not a lot of the low beef. Maybe kind of have two separate layers, one a little more distorted, maybe some kind of phasers to define that mid-range. Very labely. I mean, besides the respace and the vocal, which I thought weren't done, were done in a musical way. Look, if I'm not getting you, DM me the shiz. DM me the shiz. All right. But I'm thinking, and that is happening no more. Okay, but drum and bass second drop, that's way too labely. All right, that's where I draw the line. We gotta free you from Trap Town Records. They don't want what's best for you. They don't want what Bunting wants. That's what's best. Okay, fact check, true. There we go. Transitions could use some work. Fidelity on the bass. You know, it's clean. It's just missing that last push for like really professional, full, big ass mix down, which really just is gonna take some trial and error. That sucks. That's why I hate mixing, and I will never release music produced in Ableton. Right? I'm a Bitwig user. Nope. Real life music only. I'm calling it. I'm not calling shit. I lied to you. Okay, I'm done talking. That's all the tracks for tonight. DM me if you're a true fiend. Only true fiends. No fake fiends. And I will say, so tonight was supposed to be Flock Flip, but you know, it's Friday, Feedback Friday. Okay. Flock Flip tomorrow though. Flock Flip Sunday night. If you want to partake in a little beat battle, it's fun. It's a good time. People like it. Link in description if you need to rewatch this. Relive your moments of glory. Damn. Not use Bitwig. Wouldn't be caught red-handed. Overwatch hours are here. What the? He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. Okay. I'm peacing out. Links in the description if you want more Bunting, more support, or whatever. And hang out in the Discord. Flock Flip tomorrow. I don't have Bitwig on this computer. I don't have it. Maybe I downloaded the demo once and I was like, man, fuck this. No, I should be open-minded to it. I just really don't feel like learning another DAW. And I really can't imagine the workflow being much better than Ableton. Like, there might be cooler, like, almost plugin type things, but I don't know. I'm not open-minded enough to sit down and learn it enough to give it a fair comparison. Peace out. Hit the DM if you want feedback. Okay. Peace. Flock Flip. Flock Flip. Flock Flip.